That's the name of her company, but she just delivers my all of my meals for the week on Sunday. So I get my food and I just already have them there in the kitchen, at my gym in the refrigerator, and I just pop them in. And
And I don't like leftovers. I'm not a big leftover person.
It don't bother me. It don't bother me.
Yeah,
Not at all. Because again, like what she's saying is, through the week, I don't have to worry about that because I know the most I might add to certain stuff might be a little hot sauce, stuff like that, but just a little dab of pepper or something like that. Or if I have more of like a noodle type dish or something, I might add a little bit of that cheese on it. Cheese has always been my favorite. That's always been
weakness.
my favorite. Yeah. So if I'm gonna add anything to something, it'll be cheese. But I know that I don't have no sugar. I don't have no candy.
Right.
I don't have no junk. I don't have no grease. So look at all of the other stuff I cut out just to make sure I have flavor for this meal.
So Joyce, are your meals flavorful? Because I've ordered meals from other people before, and it's hit and miss. Sometimes it's seasoned right, and sometimes it's just really bland, and it's like, what am I eating? So do you have to sacrifice flavor for clean eating? Because we get that misconception that I have to sacrifice the flavor of a food because I'm trying to eat clean, so I can't season it with salt, or I can't season it with garlic powder or whatever. So what are your
Tia?
Oh my God, y'all.
I hear,
Okay.
oh my God, my
No.
entire cooking class.
No.
Oh my God.
It's so flavorful. It's healthy. It's easy to prepare. I am not a cook, and Joyce knew this when I first met her. I'm busy. I don't have time. It's not that I can't. I'm not. But I don't enjoy it. It's just me. I don't have to cook for anybody, and this was easy and so good and so much variety. So you can have different things because, and I shared with her that, everybody knows to eat some dry chicken and some broccoli when you're trying to, to shed pounds. But you can still lose weight on what she does with just natural herbs and seasonings that I never thought of before. And I use
a lot of seasonings that are salt free, and we use lemon juice, fresh herbs. Yes, we do use salt, but very little.
Okay,
very little. The flavor is just really there. Okay, and that's what I hear. Your food is well seasoned.
Yeah, I have two. One client does meal preps for my clients, and then I have a vegan chef as well. Corey McDaniel is a great one. Sunny Dizzy is the other one, the other vegan. But the other one is Healthy Soul. That's her. Okay. That's her name of her. And she does meal prep as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna try you out though.
Yeah, I know, me too, definitely.
I'm gonna try Joyce.
Another question. And this one, Joyce, and even trainers, you guys can chime in on this one too, because I think it kind of goes hand in hand when people are trying to lose weight. Should someone count macros? How do you determine which diet plan is best for you? Whether it's keto, macros, no carbs, etc. How do you decide? Because I see so many people who go on that keto diet, all they eating is meat, and then I see people who's like, no, you need some no carbs at all. And then I see people say just count your macros, where it's an equal amount of protein, carbs, and fats. So how do you determine what's the best plan for you? Should you count macros?
I'm going to start off and I'm going to let you chime in too, because I just really think it's a personal preference. I think you want to choose something that is something that you can stick with. I just started another weight loss challenge today, and I actually let my clients choose between the macros, the keto, the the intermittent fasting, and then one other. And so they all chose something different. But I think the main thing is just to find something that you can stick with. And if it doesn't really gel well with you, then try something else. And but just really, the main thing is understanding this is a lifestyle change. This is something you're going to have to do for life, and it may change. Like you said, every 10 years, you may have to change how you eat. And like I said, the intermittent fasting works really well for me. I get a lot of energy. I love it. I don't mind waiting until 11 o'clock to eat. I get up in the morning and get my day started and drink plenty of fluids, drink teas. And then 11 o'clock, I eat a really big meal. And then maybe about 3, I eat again, and then again at 7, like I mentioned before. But the main thing I would say to choose from that is just really a personal preference. And it also will go according to your own medical needs. You may need to cut carbs or do certain things. So that can also be a factor.
Okay. I have a follow-up question, but I'm going to let the trainers answer that question first.
I definitely would agree with Joyce as well as far as the personal preference. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, it's trial and error. The keto diet might not work well with your body. The no carbs might not work well with your body. You just have to figure out what works for you and what works for your body. I'm really big on blood types. So oftentimes when my clients come in, I definitely tell them to find out what their blood type is.
How does that affect?
It actually tells you what you should be consuming and what you shouldn't be consuming.
Okay.
So there are definitely some blood types where you're supposed to be a vegetarian. You should be a vegan. There are some blood types that say that you shouldn't be eating cauliflower or you shouldn't eat strawberries or you shouldn't. And that also falls in lines with people who have skin conditions like eczema, suffer from asthma. Good. Oftentimes those things are because you're consuming things that does not go with your blood type. So I'm really big on blood type things. So that also applies to these type diets, especially the no carbs. You might be a high protein, high carb type blood type. So it just depends on what your blood type is. And there are a lot of adults that do not know what their blood types are.
No, you're right, because I was just sitting here thinking, like, I don't remember what mine is. I'm going to have to ask my doctor.
So I always say, if you've had children, call your OBGYN, but if not, then definitely, and it's free to go get your blood type.
So would the blood type supersede the allergy testing? I mean, you could just find that out without...
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because oftentimes, it's something that you're consuming. That affects your allergies. I had to change from when I moved to Atlanta. That's when I really started getting into the blood types because their pollen count was completely different from here. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, it was all over the place. And I'm like, what is happening? So that was when I started, really, studying and really doing research on the blood type diets. And I started applying that to my clients, especially ones that suffer from asthma and things of those natures. Because oftentimes that inflammation comes from what you're eating. Mm-hmm. And that's with anything, bacteria, anything that, you're actually consuming that's affecting you in a negative way. Like again, come out in skin conditions, rashes, eczema, you don't know where it's coming from. Yeah, migraine headaches, a lot of that is what you're actually consuming. So I'm really big on blood types.
Okay. Mike? That's great. That's good information.
Again, I'm going to go with both of them. I don't really agree with the keto, really. I feel like it doesn't give enough.
Yeah, that's
the only thing I will always say about keto. Mm-hmm. But have I seen it work with certain people? Yes. Mm-hmm. My younger sister was one, that's a family member outside of clients. But me personally, I don't feel like the way the structure of keto is, I don't feel like it's enough that's added there. As far as macros, of course, any nutrition is going to have to learn how to do macros because that's how you actually add. Mm-hmm. That's how you count is with macros. No carbs. We've always ran from that as a personal trainer because we want strength. Mm-hmm. Carbs is our strength. So those are my take on those three.
So what would you say? Because now the whole thing with what the health thing came out and. I always tell people you have to beware of the motives of when people put things out, and there's always a story behind the story. So everybody's seen with the health, and now they're all like, "Well, we're going vegan." And I mean, you hear people saying that vegan is the way that you should go. You shouldn't eat meat. So, what are your thoughts from a fitness standpoint, nutrition standpoint, when it comes to my personal opinion? Is my grandmother is 90 years old and she grew up on a farm, so they raised their cattle and all of that stuff, and it wasn't, to me, I feel like it's not the meat that's bad, it is the farming practices and how they're what they're putting when it comes to raising the animals, what they're injecting them with, and how they're fattening them up. So not necessarily is it the meat that's bad, it's people who have made the meat bad. Because I think about historic times where they would just go kill a bird and eat it and they'd be fine. I mean, they would be fine. But, now it's all of a sudden now meat is bad and everybody's wanting to go to this plant-based diet. But a plant-based diet is not always the best option for everyone. So what are your thoughts about, should you eat meat? Should you not eat meat? Should you just be plant-based, the alkaline, because I drink alkaline water, should you just have an alkaline diet? And what are your thoughts?
As far as that, I've tried all the diets too. I've done the vegan. I've even done raw vegan. I've done vegetarian. I've done low carb. Not necessarily keto, but counting the macros. I still go back to it being a personal preference. Yes, I do believe that there are certain things out here that aren't good for us. When you look at the nutritional science, it changes all the time. They would say this is not good for you, and now it is good for you. So
that's an endless.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't outrun that.
Yeah, so
I mean, they're gonna have an ad on the news with that, and then next you know they're gonna say that it's okay now if you do it with low cholesterol or something, fat free, or if it's
I just really
gluten free.
Again, I think it's personal preference, and I don't think people should shame other people if they don't eat the way they eat, or why are you? I know people who shame vegans and vegans who shame people that eat meat. And I just don't agree with any of that. I just think everyone, should just do whatever they feel comfortable doing.
I'm glad you said it like that too, because a lot of times people that are vegan and they be like, well, you shouldn't eat a dead piece of meat, and why do you think that you're going to put something that's dead in a living body, and how do you feel like that's going to actually make you grow or be healthier? And at the end of the day, when dude would say protein, I say lima bean, butter beans. Some of them is some of my favorite protein, and you can taste that protein in there when you eat it, not when you overcooking it, and you done lost the substance of of what you're actually eating. But when you actually cook it and prepare it correctly, yes, you're going to get the most out of your food. So again, I would say it's just how are you preparing your food too, And if you don't want to eat the meat, that's cool. If you do, then that's cool too. I don't like she said, I think that's very important for people not to shame each other with whatever their decision may be. If anything, if it's working for you, I'm happy.
Right. And I feel the same way. I think if you want to be technical, too much of anything is not good for you at the end of the day. So
everything has to have a balance. You're right.
Absolutely right. So I definitely agree with them on find what works for you. I'm not a fan of pork. Can't even tell you the last time I ate pork. It does. My body responds differently to it. I do not like the way it makes me feel. So my personal choice is I don't eat pork. So there are, and it's high in sodium. So there's.
Is it true about the worms?
Yes.
And pork.
I actually experienced and witnessed it for myself. And that's probably when I stopped, because that's all I could picture. But yeah, in a science class in high school, my teacher had I don't know if it was a piece of hog. He put it in a fish tank full of water, and we watched it for like 2 days. And within 72 hours, there were worms all in the fish tank. So it's saying that that's what it does in your body, because it takes 72 hours to digest. That's why they tell you not to consume red meat. So they say that, no, that's what it's doing inside of your body. So you're creating all these toxins in your body when you're eating pork. Now, I love me some bacon.
I love me some pepperoni and sausage on my pizza.
But I'm just saying. But I did witness that myself. And for me, it just
what
put
about
an
when
image
you
in my
cook
head.
it, though? I mean, because that was just a dead piece of meat. I mean, that was just not dead.
Well, they're saying it responds the same way.
When they say heat kills, so it's not, the heat is not killing the worm.
I wouldn't say that about red meat. I would say that maybe with chicken. I know y'all seen that post where the CDC was like, "Don't wash it." My grandmama wash it. I'm gonna wash it too. Now I do know
wash
that.
your chicken.
Don't wash the chicken. They said it actually causes more
bacteria
and
around.
Spread in your kitchen. It's better just to cook it, and that will
we
get rid
grew
of
up
the
washing
bacteria.
chicken.
Girl, I'm gonna keep washing my chicken.
I did not hear that.
My grandmama, they actually
controversy.
posted it on Twitter and everything, and so they actually came back and was like, "We didn't know we were going to cause all this commotion," but they still stood by what they stated.
They say you splattered it around. You're making more of a spread of the bacteria when you're washing it than you would if just cooking it.
Yeah, they're saying that you're putting it on your utensils and things in the kitchen. You're spreading the bacteria yourself by
washing it.
Well,
I turned out all right.
I'm going to keep eating my piece of bacon and my pepperoni and my sausage and just pray over it.
Did it really make a difference?
Exactly.
It didn't make a difference. So
I don't eat it all the time. I do it in moderation.
Preference.
It's a personal preference.
I like turkey bacon.
And I think I agree with you guys too. Everything in moderation.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.